Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's really, really hot down here at the moment. I don't know what it's like where you guys are. I know some parts of the planet, this is winter. It certainly isn't here in Spain at the moment. And I mean, July is a hot month. And I think having the menopause doesn't help. But I'm one of these people, I just prefer to muscle through all the sweats and stuff. Right, let's get down to business. Because I've seen, I was going to do a video this morning because I saw a puff piece, and I got waylaid. About half an hour later, another puff piece came out with something even worse, and another puff piece and another puff piece. Now I don't know if these are Meghan or her official PR people, or whether it's just journalists stoking the fire or guessing and putting the feelers out. I mean, one of them said Harry needs to go back to the royal family in order to get his to support his waning fan base. Whoa, that one really made me angry. I mean, Buckingham Palace is not a doll's house, okay? The royal family are not a load of Barbie dolls and crystal Kens. That is a constitutional monarchy that represents Great Britain and the Commonwealth. It is not some Tinseltown toy to be used for PR. Now, I think in all fairness, I can't remember which expert said that one, but it was some sort of, they call them royal experts or PR experts or something. I don't know what they're thinking when they say things like that. So I don't think that was actually Meghan's people that was saying that, but I assume it's someone from Hollywood who really doesn't understand how insulting that is. I've read puff pieces where she says, or they're putting it across as if it's her, but let's try and be fair to Meghan. I don't know. Time will tell. If this comes to be, then we can all look back on this video and think it was her. But at this stage, I'm willing to give even her the benefit of the doubt. That Harry has destroyed her Hollywood career, that they need to be on completely separate paths now, that she feels he was very wrong to criticise the royal family in Spare. That, I think, is probably the cheekiest statement of the lot, isn't it? That it's all Harry's fault. She's never said a word about royal family. She's never criticised the royal family. But again, I don't know if that's her or her. I mean, some of you said this William Morris agency do get involved in public relations. I don't know, because I can't imagine ever finding myself in that situation. I really can't, because I feel if your public image is really bad, I think the person themselves really needs to sit back and think, why? Maybe I am a bad person, or maybe I'm not explaining myself properly, or maybe I need to change myself fundamentally, or go away and think about what I've done wrong, or maybe I need to change the way I'm communicating with the public. But that doesn't appear to be what she does. It is always somebody else's fault, always. And I sense great panic, because I've seen more and more articles coming out today. I don't even know where to begin. I will try and dig them out and put them in the link, but no promises. I mean, if you just go out there and you search Jack Royston and another guy from Newsweek, John Crawford something, I can't remember his name. They've been doing a lot of articles, a lot. And again, I was just about to do the video, and another one came out now. Now this one beats all of them. The claim is that the lady who took the pictures of Meghan at the flower market, you know, she had to dash out, was it an hour's drive or something, with her dog to go and buy a bunch of flowers. She couldn't have picked some flowers from her own garden. The lady photographer has spoken to Newsweek and said she was not tipped off by Meghan. And it was just a chance thing, okay? Me personally, I find this highly implausible. I don't believe it myself. What you guys make of it is entirely up to you. I'll read a little bit of the article, and I will put a link in the description to this one for you all to make up your own minds. It's headed, and I will put the link because I found this on my phone, and I said to Graham, can I borrow your phone to do this video today because I need to read from it, and then when I searched Google I couldn't find it, so I had to WhatsApp the link from my phone to Graham's phone to get it. So it is still there, but it's not showing on a Google list. It is headed, How Meghan Markle Paparazzi Pictures Came About, in quotes, No One Calls Me. And I think this one is by Jack Royston. Yes, it is. He says, a paparazzi photographer who has snapped Meghan Markle 4 times in 2 years says the Duchess of Sussex has never tipped her off. I'm sorry, I find that very, very hard to believe. Very hard to believe. And I actually, this lady's called Jill. Jill Ishkanian, I think you pronounce her name, I'm not sure. This lady Jill says she absolutely does not. No one calls me, trust me. I have absolutely no support. I do everything by myself. It's a total pain in the butt when you get their picture, to be totally honest. Why is it a total pain in the butt when you finally get the celebrity's picture? Isn't that your job? I'm reading this out, just a few snippets of it under fair use and fair dealing. She says that she grew up in Montecito, this lady. She was actually trying to pap Katy Perry's dad. She says, I saw a pink and white striped golf cart with Katy Perry's dad holding flowers. So is this market? Is this somewhere where you get loads of celebrities who turn up holding a bunch of, look, I've got a bunch of flowers, just standing around all day waiting for the paparazzi to take pictures of them? If that's true, that they do that, do they not understand why that irritates people and people don't find that totally relatable? Do they think that a lot of us plebs go out of our way? I mean, sometimes I buy flowers and plants and stuff, but the way they do it, do you know what I mean, in the pictures and tasting some honey and stuff. She goes on, I mean, I just sense panic. Why does the woman feel the need? Why does this photographer feel the need to give an interview to Jack Royston at Newsweek to say, nobody called me? She got the shots, they were published in the Daily Mail, job done. That is her job. Why does she care how people think she got the picture? Which to me suggests someone's phoned her up and said, can you do me a favour, can you deny it? Because we've seen denials like this before, haven't we? Oh, we had nothing to do with writing Finding Freedom. Oh, sorry, we misremembered. Yes, we did. Oh, that book, that guy was writing all about us. Oh, now I remember. This is the woman talking, the photographer. I said, oh my God, here's my chance to get Katy Perry's dad. So I flipped the car around. I was trying to cross to go into a parking area, and this big guy in a blue shirt was in front of my car, and then he backed away. Then he flipped his hand and said, go ahead. This was Meghan Markle's bodyguard I was talking to. And then she says Meghan just appeared there. And that she took pictures of her with her phone. And that Meghan was just, you know, she's just natural. That's just how she is. And how she, sometimes she has to persuade publications it really is Meghan, because they don't believe her. And she has to dig out old pictures of Meghan's boots and say, look, they're the same boots. I don't really see how that would convince an editor that it really is a picture of the person. I find the whole thing totally implausible. But the culmination of all the puff pieces I've seen over the last 24 hours is panic. It's panic. It's we've got to save Meghan. Meghan is sliding down the hill and we've got to save her career. Somehow, let's throw Harry under the bus. It's all Harry's fault. Now she says she wishes she'd got involved. Oh no, she had nothing to do with Spare. They're a married couple. He never consulted her. He never told her what was going on. No, she had nothing to do with Spare. She didn't even ask. She left him all to it. She didn't help him with the promotion. But now She wishes she had, because she would have advised him to take certain bits out. She doesn't like that he criticised William. She doesn't like that he criticised Camilla. This is the same woman that went on Oprah and used that as a platform to plunge a knife, metaphorically speaking, into the royal family. In fact, several times. Now she's saying it was nothing to do with her. I see her trolls are less active. There's still one or two out there, but on the whole. So that's my take on it. There's this sense of panic, and she's trying to blame it all on Harry, of course. Who knew that would happen? Again, I emphasise this might not be Meghan herself, because, you know, there's always that possibility. I think it's pretty slim, but you never know. This could just be journalists stirring the fire and making things worse for her. I can consider that. But you know, this brings me to a really important point. I come from a town on the south coast of England called Brighton. It's quite famous, actually. I guess a lot of you will have heard of it. Now, I was born in Brighton. I went to school in Brighton. I lived in Hove for about 10 years, and then I lived in Brighton itself, in Brighton Marina, for 6 years. I know Brighton very, very well. And it's a lovely town. I haven't actually been there in years. I haven't been back since 2014, and I haven't lived there since the end of 2009, so it might have changed, maybe, doubt it, but maybe. Now what happens in Brighton is, it's a very, very popular town. And we have lots of people who come from many other parts of the United Kingdom, and indeed the world, who go and move to Brighton because it's a lovely place. It's not only a fun place, it's an attractive seaside town. It's very expensive, actually. We get lots of actors there and celebrities and stuff. It's kind of like the little Hollywood of the UK, I suppose. In fact, Graham and I took the kids to the playground once, and we had this sensation we were surrounded by police officers at one point. We recognised all these faces, and I thought, how could we? I haven't known anyone in Sussex Police for years. And then we realised they were all the cast of The Bill, which is a TV show in the UK all about the police. And we were like, they're all actors. All the actors have moved here from an entire TV show, and they're all in the playground with their little kids. I was talking to Wally the other day because she'd mentioned Fatboy Slim and Zoe Ball, and our two kids went to school with little Woody, their little boy. And we used to live round the back. We lived on a boat, but they lived on a very fancy schmancy beach property, Basin Road South, and next door to Paul McCartney and Heather Mills at the time. We used to joke and say we're neighbours with Fatboy Slim, Zoe Ball and Sir Paul and Lady McCartney, as she was at that time, which of course we weren't. We were just living on our little boat, but we were pretty much right next door to them. So you get a lot of famous people in Brighton, but you also get people who have problems and they run away from their problems and they come to live in Brighton. And what they don't realise is they are the problem, and so their problems go with them and manifest themselves, and we have a lot of eccentric characters in Brighton. I think I've probably mentioned it before. There used to be a guy who sprayed himself, all his skin from head to toe, in silver, and he had a tinfoil hat and like a silver kind of caftan, and he'd sprayed an old tape recorder silver, and he told everybody he was from the year 2012 or something. This was back in 1997, and he was a time traveller, and he used to stand outside Tesco's on Blatchington Road. And we used to go to a cafe, and it was absolutely full of people like him. There was another guy, I don't know what his name was. He was a very fancy looking gentleman in a tweed jacket with a bow tie and a very smart moustache, and the restaurant were all really sweet with him, and they'd lay a place for him and his invisible imaginary friend, Humphrey. And he would yell at Humphrey throughout the meal. They'd even serve a plate up for Humphrey, and the guy would pay for both, and the waiters played along with it and asked what would Humphrey like to drink, what would Humphrey like to order, and this guy would yell at his imaginary invisible friend, throughout the course of the meal, you know, using the wrong knife and fork. Humphrey, Humphrey, how many times have I told you to use a napkin? You know, and we get a lot of that in Brighton, a lot. I've grown up with it. I could tell you lots and lots of stories. And my point with Markle is she can blame everybody else as much as she likes. She can run away from her problems as much as she likes. She can freeze out family members, friends. She can fire staff. She can keep blaming everybody else. But until she realises that she is the problem, her problems will continue to follow her around. And I reiterate, I was watching Black Belt Barrister and him saying that the big downfall for her was the curtsy. Yes and no. I suppose a lot of people globally suddenly looked at the situation and thought, that's really quite cheeky, rude. In fact, there was something a bit sadistic about it, wasn't there? And I love Black Belt Barrister, but I do disagree. I think that her downfall came the day she married Harry. And I don't mean that as in marrying into the royal family destroyed her life. What I mean is I saw her in the carriage with him after they got married, and I could see a crazy expression on her face. She couldn't believe it. Her little mind was exploding with possibilities of megalomania and what she could do with this newfound power. And that really was the downfall. That was the day, because I can well imagine her life up until then. She wasn't that famous. People weren't really scrutinising her. She could get away with a lot. As soon as she married Harry, she got really big for her boots and didn't realise she was going to be under a microscope. And so continuing a similar pattern, shall we say, that's when I think her downfall began, and then it continued. It's only that the masses that weren't really interested sort of came on board with the curtsy on Netflix, Harry's bizarre denial that they'd ever made any racist allegations on the Oprah interview. The Oprah interview itself would have raised a few eyebrows. The death of Prince Philip, the subsequent passing of Our Late Majesty, the fake car chase in New York, South Park. There's been a big build-up. And I probably think her best bet is to go back to Instagram and just take the odd photograph and, of her doing a yoga pose, the perfect warrior yoga pose, or her tasting honey or whatever. That probably is about the limit. But then she's come full circle and she's really ended up back down where she started in the first place. But until she can herself can sit back and analyse, what is it that I'm doing wrong? All the time she pretends it's not her fault and continues to run away. Because that's what she does. Trevor Ingleson, when she dumped him, just sent the ring back, apparently. That's just running away. She didn't want to talk to her best friend of 30 years. Cut her off. That's running away. They've run away from the royal family. They shut the Markles out, run away from them. It's a constant running away. And as I said, I've grown up in a town where I've seen that kind of thing. I think that's why I'm a little bit on the analytical side, because whenever I've had a downsy in my life, I do tend to sit back and think, how did that happen? Where did I mess up? How could I avoid doing something like that? This William Morris, they've got no chance. She had an agent, I forget the guy's name, it was Nick something. She had this agent for years and she kept him on the books all the time she was in the royal family. Then she did the Oprah interview, and about 2 weeks after that she sacked him. Now I believe she did the Oprah interview for two reasons. One, she saw it as her launching pad into a Hollywood career, and she thought that the A-listers the phone would be red hot, off the hook, all week long, calling her agent Nick. And that's not what happened. And instead of her blaming herself, she blamed him and fired him. This is all my thoughts and opinions. The other reason she did the Oprah interview was to stick the knife in with the royal family and take revenge, because she's quite a grudge bearer, isn't she? Even if nobody's done anything to her, she's like perceived slights, and she's got a list in her head where she's going to get people. Anyway, those are my thoughts and opinions for the day. Graham and I are now in the house, and it's lovely and cool, and this fan is amazing. I'm going to take it with me to the supermarket and everything. Great big fan. I'll carry that around like a portable one. Anyway, what do you guys think? I really have the sensation they're separated at the moment. She is trying to distance herself from Harry, blaming him for everything to get her Hollywood career launched, which was the plan all along. That's what she wants. She wants to be an A-lister. That's been the plan all along. What do you guys think? Look forward to hearing your thoughts, opinions and free speech in the comments section. Thank you very much for listening.